dominated by the fact of war. At Esnahita, for instance, Mass is usually said in the open air. The church is far too small to hold the congregation, especially since everyone wants to attend the earliest Mass for fear of the bombers that come over as soon as the sun is fully risen. Today is a feast of Our Lady, and there's especially large attendance. The sermon is in praise of the Mary girls, the members of the Sodality of Our Lady.
And our own Mary girls at the moment are engaged in just that type of work. Many of them are helping in the feeding centres.
More than half of the people of Biafra are Christians, and among them Catholics form by far the largest group. The foundations of the church among the Igbo people were laid by an Irishman, Bishop Shanahan, in the early years of this century. His work was continued by other Irish priests and nuns, and they built up an impressive network of churches, convents and schools extending over the whole Igbo territory. Nearly all of them belonged to Bishop Shanahan's own order, the Holy Ghost Fathers, or to the sisterhood he founded to work here, the Holy Rosary Nuns. The outbreak of the war brought many problems for the missionaries. As the federal Nigerian troops advanced, the Igbo people fled in front of them, and the priests and nuns who had worked with the Igbos moved with them. Some of these displaced missionaries have since returned home, but enough have remained to ensure that all the missions and convents in Biafran-held territory are fully staffed. The emphasis of their work has changed greatly, however, and with all their schools and colleges closed, they find that most of their time is spent in bringing relief to the sick and hungry among their people. In the little village of Amimo, the Mary girls are celebrating the feast day in their own way. Since the fall of the town of Owerri, Amimo has become the centre of administration for what is left of the Owerri diocese. Bishop Joseph Whelan, the Bishop of Owerri, moved here after the capture of the city in September, and he was joined here a few days later by the nuns from the Holy Rosary Hospital at Emekuku.
Well, I felt very happy that the nuns took the same decision that we did. They decided that it was their place to stay with the people. And even when they evacuated Emekuku Hospital, which was their first foundation in Owerri, and we called it the mother of all the churches, when they evacuated their big hospital, they came down here to Amimo, and 6 have actually remained on, 2 of whom are sister doctors. And they usefully put down their time now looking after the sick, visiting the bush, visiting the camps.
What effect has the war had on your relationship with the people here? I understand at the beginning of the war that things were rather unpleasant for the missionaries.
They were unpleasant because all white men were identified with Britain, and Britain was the enemy. But people soon began to see that we, the missionaries, were staying with our people, that we were anxious to help them, that we were a consolation to them. So they welcome us now, as you can see here today.
And also, of course, you're a provider of food.
Oh, we are providers of food for them. We have our feeding centres, and we have helped in a big way to overcome the famine.
When you left the Diocese of Owerri, or rather the town of Owerri, you left it at a time when it was very hopeful for the future, just building your cathedral. What were the circumstances of your leaving, actually?
Well, the military circumstances were that our own army had no arms or ammunition to defend the town, so the town fell really without a shot. And our people had evacuated on the Friday and the Saturday. Sunday morning after Mass, for some of the military, I left myself. And that was one of the saddest experiences of my life, because for 20 years I have been bishop here and built up the diocese, built up a cathedral, a whole education centre, a whole centre of administration. Then in one day it's all lost.
Every aspect of life in Biafra today is dominated by the fact of war.